I totally forgot that Johanna doesn't take her clothes off in the elevator. She does it outside of the elevator in the book. There was a lot of stuff going on when Johanna Mason decided to take off her clothes and catching fire, okay? After the opening ceremony chariot rides, Katniss, Peeta, everyone is all standing around. The Capitol attendants are herding everyone to the elevators. All the victors and their teams. Peeta and Katniss are standing by Haymitch, Chaff, and Cedar, and then Johanna Mason pops up to Katniss's side. Katniss is thinking about how Johanna had won by very convincingly portraying herself as weak and helpless so that she would be ignored. Then she demonstrated a wicked ability to murder. So Johanna must be a great actress and a liar to have pulled that off at the age of 17, which is when she won her games. It's important to note that Johanna is very skilled at deceiving people. Johanna tosses off her headdress before rolling her eyes and says to Katniss, "Isn't my costume awful? My stylist's the biggest idiot in the Capitol. Our tributes have been trees for 40 years under her. Wish I'd gotten Cinna. You look fantastic." So by doing this, she's complaining and putting herself down and then complimenting Katniss. Katniss perceives this as girl talk, that thing I've always been so bad at. I think what Johanna says is truthful, but it's also strategic. Katniss responds by saying how Cinna's helping her design clothes. You should see what he can do with velvet. She has no idea what to say. And Johanna responds, I have. On your tour, that strapless number you wore in District 2, the deep blue one with the diamonds, so gorgeous I wanted to reach through the screen and tear it right off your back. So now she's peppering in some hostility to this girl talk. It seems like she's been keeping a pretty close eye on Katniss by pointing out a specific dress that she wore, and then she finishes that statement with a physical threat. Johanna could have said, that dress is so gorgeous, I wish I had it myself, but instead she says, I wanted to tear it off of you. It's pointed. And then Johanna unzips the rest of her tree outfit. She does it herself. I know in the movie Peeta helps her. That doesn't happen. She kicks the outfit away in disgust and says, that's better. And Katniss thinks, except for her forest green slippers, she doesn't have on a stitch of clothing. She's not wearing any underwear? Huge display of confidence and dominance from Johanna with that one. Remember, there's a ton of people around. They're not inside the elevator. So many people can see this. And Johanna doesn't care. She strips down again in the training center one day for her wrestling lesson too. This behavior seems normal for her. Perhaps one reason Johanna is so comfortable being publicly nude, especially in the Capitol, is because it gives her a sense of bodily autonomy. She gets to feel in control of her body versus when she's been presumably trafficked as a victor. So then it could be a sort of coping mechanism, honestly. Or she's a at heart. Once Johanna is naked, it's time to get in the elevator. So it's Johanna, Katniss, Peeta, Chaff, and Cedar. And now Johanna turns her attention to Peeta, talking to Peeta about his paintings while the light of his still glowing costume reflects off her bare. That's what Katniss is thinking about, until they get to Johanna's floor and she steps off. Katniss thinks, when she leaves, I ignore him, meaning Peeta, but I just know he's grinning. I toss aside his hand as the doors close behind Chaff and Cedar, leaving us alone, and he breaks out laughing. So Peeta got a kick out of this. Johanna started this interaction making girl talk with Katniss about clothes, and then when she's taken off her clothes, she switches her attention to Peeta, making friendly conversation about his hobby. If you take this whole interaction and put it in a teen movie like Mean Girls, it'd be like Regina George pretending to be nice to a girl she doesn't like and then flirting with the girl's boyfriend right in front of her. It's a classic power play. Obviously, Johanna isn't actually interested in Peeta. She's doing this because it's a way to disrespect and piss off Katniss and play with her a bit. I realized this when I was editing. Also, by Johanna taking off this outfit, she's openly kind of rejecting the Capitol in front of them. You know, this is her Capitol required costume for the games, and she's just totally discarding it and sort of implying that she's a rebel. Plus, she gets to see how Peeta and Katniss react to this. Katniss could have easily started an argument with Johanna had she said something. Katniss could have ordered Peeta to look away, and if he did that or not would be noteworthy. Peeta could have showed some discomfort or said something about his allegiance to his fiance, or Peeta could have even flirted with Johanna. It could even turn into a fight between Peeta and Katniss, which it does after. Johanna could learn a lot about them by creating this situation. Knowing Katniss and Peeta's relationship dynamic is valuable information. She knows about the rebel plan here, and she's likely going to be working with them in the arena. She wants to know what she's walking into, just like how Finnick did. So there's all those possibilities of what could have happened, but what they ended up doing is Katniss and Peeta, they kept holding hands throughout this, and Peeta made polite conversation with Johanna, presumably maintaining eye contact. So what does Johanna learn? Now she knows that Katniss isn't easily provoked into an argument, but is easily made uncomfortable. And when she's uncomfortable, she's avoidant. She learns that Peeta stays cool and collected in awkward situations. He's not a flirt, but he's also not a prude. She sees that Katniss and Peeta aren't openly possessive of each other, like jealous. Katniss. I'm guessing she wasn't very surprised by how they reacted. I imagine both her and Finnick conspiring about this ahead of time. Mostly what I think Johanna got out of this was amusement and satisfaction of pissing off Katniss. She dislikes her. Seems like she has some bitterness and frustration about Katniss being this all-important focal point of the rebellion. For the rebel plan in the arena, Johanna is supposed to risk everything, including her own life, to make sure Katniss gets out of the arena. I can understand feeling some resentment about that. You know, Johanna is seen as less valuable than Katniss. And there's jealousy too. Johanna and Katniss talk about this in Mockingjay. How Johanna should have been the face of the rebellion, but she wasn't because no one likes her. And Katniss is currently the same age as Johanna was when she won her games. So it could feel like looking into an alternate reality of what could have happened for Johanna. Johanna could imagine winning her games and inspiring all these people, but instead, after Johanna won, she was trafficked, and when she resisted this, her loved ones were executed. By the Quell, Johanna says she has no one left that she loves. She's had a very rough 4 years since winning her games, and it's feasible she's angry at Katniss for being the catalyst to this whole Victor Quell to begin with. The theme of this Quell was created because of Katniss and Peeta. Peeta's reasoning that the Victors are making fun of Katniss's prudishness, you know, it's not wrong, but it's only a small piece of what's going on. He can't see the full scope of everything because he doesn't know about the rebel plot, obviously. I love Johanna as a character, and this is such an amazing introduction to her. She's very good at getting underneath people's skin. It's an amazing moment.